Hello everyone, it's Imogen and welcome back to Colouring Kid. I hope you're doing well. It's that time again where I share my completed pages. I've got my completed pages for March and I'm also going to be sharing what I hope to colour in April. Luckily I'm now on a break. I've got 2 weeks during the Easter holidays now, so I have a bit more time to play with in terms of making content and also doing a bit more colouring. I have got a lot of work to do. This is by no means going to be a break really from college, because it's now very intense up until my exams. So my exams start at the end of May, so the Easter holidays really is about revising for mocks and then ultimately the actual exams as well for my A-levels. So yeah, it's not going to be a break as I used to know it. It's going to be very busy, but I am going to Devon to see my grandparents over the Easter weekend. We're going for a longer weekend, so because we're going away for 5 days, I'm obviously going to need to take work with me to do, but I think it's going to be really motivating to just be in a different environment and do work and then be able to take breaks as well and do loads of fun things. So I will be taking some colouring, but also it's kind of nice because my brother Tom, he's studying for his GCSEs, so we're both in the same boat. We've both got to revise for exams, but it would be nice to have a bit of relaxation as well. But as you've probably come to expect, I haven't completed many pages. I've completed 2, but I also have a WIP which is more than halfway done, and I also have a few pages that I would really like to work in. So yeah, I'm excited to share them with you. So I'm going to start with the WIP. So this is from the beautiful new book by Maggie Entre-Rios. This is Flowerscape in Paradise, and I have done a review of this on my channel. She very, very kindly sent it to me and I couldn't wait to get started doing a page in this book. It's out in the US. I believe it's out in May for those of you in the UK, but I think if you want to, you can order from Amazon US and get it. I'm not sure how much shipping is, but yeah, this is such a beautiful book, and as I said, if you'd like to hear more about it, there is a flip through. So the page I've started is this one. Now there's a story to this page because I almost ruined it, and I do get that sometimes with pages where something goes wrong and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to rectify it, otherwise I'm gonna have to scrap it. I'm planning on making this a double page spread, so obviously all I need to do is colour the passion flower on this side, but I started by colouring some of the passion flowers. So I had done this one before I did the review because I didn't have a chance to colour a whole page, but I wanted to colour something just to try it out. It is the same paper as the first book, so I also did share the pages that I completed in the first book and what medium I used. But yeah, this was the page that I decided to go with, and I did the passion flower, was really happy with it, started doing the others, and I thought, oh, I should probably start thinking about the background, because usually I start with the background for lots of my pages. It depends how busy how detailed it is or what sort of background it's going to be. But for this one, I decided in a brand new book it would be a great idea to just do a gouache background, even though I don't really use a water medium in my books as it is. But yeah, don't ask me why I thought that. I just thought it would be really fun to try, and it did not work. Sorry about that. So anyway, I started doing the background, and yeah, don't know what it was. I just was not happy with it. What I was aiming for was to do sort of a gradiated background, and I didn't use much water, and it was a light purple sort of colour, and I was starting from the centre and then hoping to gradiate it out into the white paper, and yeah, it just was not working, and I left it for a bit. So I just leave it, it's fine, just leave it for a few days, come back to it. And in the end I thought, no, I'm not going to be able to salvage this background. You might be able to see on the back there is a tiny bit of bleed through, nothing that I can't fix though, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, I left it, put a whole pile of books on it to try and flatten it out a bit, and in the end I thought, you know what, I'll just put some acrylic paint on it, which again is something that I never usually use in my books. But I'm actually really happy with how it's turned out. I had to do quite a few layers for it, so I did 2 thin layers to cover up the purple, and then I did a third one a few days ago just to try and make it as opaque as possible. And yeah, I'm actually really chuffed with it. Again, I've just tried to flatten it down as much as possible because I don't really mind the crinkly paper, but it's just better to do the actual colouring on it if it's not warped. But yeah, I really like how it's turned out. I think the colour's actually quite good for the page. I don't have much acrylic paint. I have this blue colour and a pink colour, so I didn't have much to work with, but I didn't want to go for the pink because I thought it would just blend in too much with the flowers that are already there. So yeah, a happy accident actually has turned out to be quite a fun page to do, and I might consider using acrylic paint more in this book because there are some backgrounds that are more open than others, and rather than doing pastel, which obviously isn't going to give a fully smooth lay down, something like acrylic paint would work fantastically. I think for some of the areas on this page in hindsight were probably a bit tiny to go in, and I have a few detail brushes, but the proper detail brush I sort of reserve for my glitter paints, because otherwise if I start mixing my brushes and some have glitter and some don't, then I'll end up with glitter and an acrylic paint, which I obviously don't want. But yeah, I'm looking forward to finishing it. So the actual colour, or the traditional colour I think, of the passion flowers is this colour palette here. But I also did find the ones with the pink petals, and they have a slightly lighter purple on them as well. So this one's going to be the same as the traditional colour, and then also this one is going to be as well. So I've got 3 of each. And there's a really cool feature with this book where you can scan the reference to look at the colours if you want to. I've seen a couple of people colour this already. I'm not sure. I think these are passion fruit, and I'm considering doing them orange, but I think you can have them other colours as well. So yeah, I will come to those soon once I've finished doing the passion flowers. But yeah, all in all, a very happy accident, very fun page, and I'm sure I will have this finished hopefully at the end of April. So that is my whip, and I am now sort of doing one page at a time. So ages ago I used to have loads of whips on the go. I might have like 3 or 4 at once, and now I've just found that I'm doing one page and finishing it and then moving on to the next. So it might be that over the next couple of weeks I do have a few whips going on, because it depends which books I take to Devon with me. But yeah, I hope to finish that one before we go to Devon, so that I can start working on some new pages. So a book that I have finished a page in is Animaux de Bois by Paul Brun, and this was a book that I wanted to get around to for such a long time. It's been in my pile to colour in for many months, and I've shown it in quite a few videos as well, and I just really wanted to get around to it because it's a gorgeous book. There has been a new book released as well, which is really exciting. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it at this time, just because I'm sort of limiting how many books I'm buying, and I do prefer this one, I think, but the other one is still really gorgeous. But yeah, because I've only coloured one page in it, I think I will, if I do get the other one at some point, it won't be for a while. But yeah, this one is gorgeous, more up my street, I think. But this is the page that I've done. So I wanted to pick something that wasn't too overwhelming. I didn't want something that was a full spread, but I wanted something that was enough to play with and enough of a scene to make it worthwhile doing. So there are some in here that are smaller scenes, and what I mean by that, I'm not sure if I can find any now that I'm trying to find one of the pages. Yeah, something like this. I love these, but because it wasn't a full page, I didn't decide to do that one. So in the end I decided to go for this page, and on Instagram recently I saw Emily Illustrator sharing how she uses washi tape in her colouring books, and it's something that I had seen years and years ago. I remember Kalina from KP Colours sharing using washi tape, and it was something that I'd always considered, but I just hadn't done it. So I thought this would be really great to try it on, because this page was predominantly leaves, and I was wanting to find a way for the flowers to sort of pop out from the page a bit more. And of course I could have just used pencil and done it that way and just used purples and pinks and things, but I wanted to try something fun and something new. So yeah, I decided to use washi tape on all of the flowers and the mushrooms, and I used these ones here. So This was a new one that I got for Christmas from my mum and dad in my stocking, and it's so beautiful. It's got the gold foiling on it. And I thought that would also make it really fun because there's that extra pop of metallic. This one I got ages ago in America. I'm surprised I still have any of this left, but I thought the really nice sort of washed pink colour was perfect, like a perfect mushroom colour. And we've got these ones as well. That was from Paperchase ages ago, and this is an MT one, so got the nice yellow, and I don't have many yellow washi tapes, so I really like that one. So I'm not sure if you can see if I hold that up, all of the washi tape. Essentially what I did was put it down and then used a craft knife to sort of paper cut around all of them. I did have to go over some of the lines sometimes with a black pen just to redefine them. And also I went over with paint pen, white gel pen, fine liners in some cases. So where the washi tape had covered up all of these shading lines on the flowers, I decided to go back in and add them in. But it was so fun. It did take a long time. Like, it took longer than it would do to colour them with pencil. But I'm glad that I decided to try something new. And I will definitely be doing this again in this book probably, because it's just a nice way to make it a bit different. Especially, you know, for something like this where you can just make the flowers more defined and switch it up a bit. I think that's really fun. So for the rest of the actual colouring, I decided to use budget pencils and use them and see what I could do. I used the Faber-Castell Classic pencils and the Faber-Castell Black Edition pencils, so I have the 50 set. And yeah, they worked really well. The only time where I did I used 2 Holbeins, and the only times were for these darker leaves, purely because they just didn't have a very dark green that had a lot of saturation. So that was the only case where I did use some Holbein just to add some shadows. But the best medium that I just love are fine liners, because I use them so much in conjunction with the pencil. So all of the darker areas, the bases for all of the branches, that was all fine liner, and I love them so much. I have 2 videos on my channel sharing how I use fine liners in my colouring books, because I have, over the years of using them, I've found new ways to use them apart from just using them as a base. So I used to just use fine liner as a base, and I'd go over with pencil like you would a water-based marker, except obviously they're good for smaller detailing. But now I will layer over pencil with fine liner, add extra texture, and I'm just so glad that I discovered fine liners when I did, because I use them on pretty much every page. I'm not sure if you can see here, but on these leaves, all of those extra sort of vein lines that I've added in were all with fine liner. So yeah, it's just such a fun one. The background was pencil. I didn't use a blender pen on it. I don't think it needed, I mean, it has got a little bit of white space and it's not the smoothest, but from far away you can't really tell. And no glitter, because I really liked the accents that the washi tape gave naturally, so I decided to just leave it. So yeah, that was a fun one. And I think that was the page that I initially picked out to do. I can't remember if, I think I did share that in my last completed pages video as one that I'd like to do. And then my final page that I have is from Mein Frühlingsspaziergang by Rita Berman. This was a page, again, that I'm pretty sure I picked out. It was this one. So obviously Easter is fast approaching, and I wanted to pick some spring pages to do. I'm hoping to do another one in this book in April. The only page that I haven't really done is a specific Easter page with the Easter eggs, something like that. But these crocuses are obviously perfect for this time of the year anyway. This was the first page that I did in the month, and I used Black Widow pencils, a lot of fine liner again. And I used pastel for the background, so I haven't actually used pastel in Rita Berman's books for a while for backgrounds. Usually I use pencil, but it worked well. What I tend to do is do the pastel background first, go in with my Derwent eraser and erase all of the pastel that's gone on to the flowers and the leaves. But again, because it was yellow and purple pastel, if there was a bit left over, it didn't really matter, because I was colouring the crocuses those colours anyway. So I started with the crocuses. I'd seen a gorgeous picture of them that I wanted to try and emulate. It was this colour with the yellow and then the dark sort of burgundy colour. I just loved it, because ordinarily I would have just gone for all purple or you know, all one colour. I wouldn't have thought to do different coloured petals on the same crocus. So that was something really fun and new. I do have the colours still set aside because I haven't written down the combinations yet in my book, and I need to do that. So yeah, I started with those. Then I was sort of pondering about what to do with the flowers that were left, because I didn't want to introduce a new colour. So I decided to use the colours that I'd already used, all of the burgundies and the yellow cream colour as a base, and the fine liners that I already used, to create this pink colour. So I think I just added one pink pencil in and used the burgundy that I'd already had. And yeah, I think they go really well, because I wanted the crocuses to stand out a bit more, which I think they do because of the sort of darker, more saturated colour. And then yeah, I just finished all of the leaves. Some of them have a pink base, because again, that's something I quite like to do, have, you know, obviously red and green at opposites on the colour wheel, but dulling it down and having the pink as a base and as a pop of colour was something that I really enjoyed doing. And I've done yellow before. I do yellow quite a lot for a base for a leaf and then go over with green. And yeah, lots of fine liner, as I said. And then I just used the colours that I'd already used in the scene. I couldn't work out what this was meant to be. Initially, I was like, oh, it sort of could look like an open page of a book and all of the flowers are sprouting from it. But then I thought maybe it could be just a cool pattern with like soil or something like that. I'm not sure, but I decided to do the fun, bright colours on this rather than doing brown. And then all of these little circles and accents and things, I did use fine liner for a lot of them, and then did some white gel pen. I added fine liner to some of the stars, and then I used my snail trail paint. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to find it now to show you. Yeah, here we go. The snail trail paint from the Art Spirits, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous colour. So it's just really great. It's got smaller, finer pieces of glitter, and it's a lovely, bright, metallic glitter paint. So use that. Lots of paint pen as well, and a gold jelly roll for the middles of the flowers. Yeah, it's a really fun one. I took my time with this. I think I was working on this for nearly, well, probably nearly 2 weeks. I mean, to be fair, the Animo de Bois one also took me a long time. So yeah, I definitely took my time working on this. But yeah, it was so fun. And the colour palette that I've done, you can tell I've used a lot of purple in this book, because this is the other one that I've done in this book. But yeah, I definitely want to get out of my comfort zone though with future pages that I work on in this book, because my colour palette definitely lends itself to spring and summer pages, but I'd like to find some spring colour palettes, possibly in my colour palette book that I have, that are just a bit more out there and not something that I would necessarily go for. So yeah, that's that one. So now I'm going to share with you everything that I would like to colour in April. Of course, I'm not going to get around to everything. I've got a few books that I just would like to share just for maybe a bit of inspiration anyway. But yeah, the first page actually is also from Mindful Inspired Gang. I should have just kept it out. I'm hoping to do buddy colour with Michelle, and she very kindly said just give me a few page options and I'll let you know. So I think we're planning on doing this one. So I either wanted to work in this or one of Rita Berman's other books, because I have all of her books, but I haven't started quite working in the summer book again, because obviously we're still in the spring season. So that would be nice to try and do as many pages in here as I can before I move on. So this is one I've wanted to do for a while. I also gave this page as a suggestion, which I love. I am intimidated to do this one though, because I love the page so much and I don't want to ruin it. So this one is going to be great to do, because I sort of have an idea already of how I would like to do it. I think I do want the birdhouses to be brown, but I want to try and make them a bit more interesting than just having them brown. Maybe have a bit of pink in there as well as a base or something like that. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do for the background yet. I'm not sure whether I'm going to be brave and try and do bokeh background, but I think there might be too much going on to do that. I think I'm definitely going to draw a border in just to give myself an actual like framed background, so I'm not having to go up to the edge of the page. And also that will be quite nice because some of the elements will be slightly popping out of the frame. And if you want to learn properly how to do the frames, Rika Colour has a really good tutorial on her channel, and she does wonderful pages. What I tend to do with my framed pages is not go in with a black fine liner. I tend to do a grey fine liner so that when I colour over it you can't really see it, or I just do it with pencil and then erase it afterwards so there's not a line there either. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to doing this one, and I like this symmetrical element at the top here. The birds are beautiful. There's quite a lot going on, so I do need to definitely find a colour palette for this one. But this will probably be the one that I take to Devon if I manage to finish the Flowerscape page before we go. So that's that one. And then this was a book I also wanted to work in March that I didn't get around to. This is the Four Seasons colouring book. And again, something in the spring section would be really nice. I don't think there are any pages with Easter eggs or anything, but there are definitely some good spring pages. I'd probably start with something that's not too detailed, just because I know I'm not going to get much done. But we will see. There's lots to choose from. I'm sort of giving you a mini flip. But yeah, something from the spring section would be really nice. I think I said last month, if I'm stuck, I might just start on the first page, because this one is very beautiful. But yeah, that's an option, and still one that I want to get around to. Then we have the new book by Melpomene Chattopadhyay. This is Enchanted Earth. I found this about 2 weeks ago from The Works in the UK for £6 instead of £11, which is a bargain. And I'd seen that it had come out early, and I was so excited because it actually has only been released, I think 2 days ago. So yeah, I'm just over the moon that I've got this, and it's another single-sided book. The paper is slightly different. I mean, people have been saying it's thinner. I do think it is a little bit thinner, but nothing to the extent that you couldn't use mediums that you use in the other books in here. Of course, because it's one-sided, you could use marker if you wanted to. Some of them, there are some music ones that I absolutely love. And again, now that I'm trying to find it, I won't be able to. But there are 2 music ones. One with, oh, here we go. This one. Oh, I just love that. Love that. And then there's one with a piano as well. So there is a possibility I won't get around to this month just because it is very detailed. I'm also very excited because Leila Dooley's new book is coming out, and I haven't worked in the flower year and I really want to, but I think I will work in her new book as a priority if I can. So something that's not too detailed in here would be great. I mean, that's beautiful, but this isn't too detailed, and I think I would be able to think of something for this. I would probably do a pastel background, or something that I've done before in Kirby Roseanne's book is do a pastel background and go over with pencil and then blend it all together. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of inspiration for it because I love the little scenes, and then I would probably just keep it really simple, black out all of the music notes, keep the stave white. So I would need a background because I'd want the white stave to pop out a bit. And it's nice that there's natural shading that Melpomene's put in the drawing already, so I don't feel like I'd need to go in with pencil. So that would be fairly quick because I'd only have to think about the background and then the smaller elements. So that was one when I saw the flip throughs that I was definitely very intrigued by. The only pages I'm not so keen on are the pages like these where it's an object that's then been turned into a scene, just because I'd rather just colour the scene, if you know what I mean. So something like this I really like because they are candles and it works a bit more for me. Or something like this, you know, is really, really gorgeous. But there's the occasional one like these, don't get me wrong, the illustrations are still beautiful, but it's not something that I'm drawn to quite as much as some of the others. But it's a gorgeous book, and I'm so pleased that she's released another one. So exciting. I don't think, are the pages perforated? No, they're not. But yeah, that's the new book by Melpomene Chats of Penegitu. So definitely, if you're in the UK, head down to the works. And I don't know if every store will have it, but for those of you interested in Alien Worlds, I think lots of the stores have that as well. By Kirby Roseanne's the new one. There's usually a Joanna Basford book or two in there. There's 30 Days of Creativity in my local one. And yeah, quite a few other books as well. So yeah, the final 3 books are all Rita Berman ones. I'm not expecting to get around to these, but I thought I'd just share with you a few spring pages that I was considering doing. And if you're looking for spring themed pages as well, you might be interested. So we have Die Welt unter der Lupe Zeelande. The page that I love in here, that I want to redo at some point, is this one, because I did this in my first copy, and it's a perfect Easter page. I'm too intimidated to do it right now, but that is so beautiful. The spring pages in here are gorgeous. I love this mouse one as well. But there's a great spring section in here. Some great ones to choose from. So it sort of does go through the seasons. I mean, this is the spring, and then you sort of head into summer, autumn and winter. And then there's the jungle bit at the back as well, which sort of isn't part of the seasons bit. But yeah, there's a lot of beautiful spring pages. Then in Meine Reise der Europa, oh, love this one. I haven't coloured in it for a while. There was a specific spring page which I really like. I do love these pages in the Amsterdam section. I think they're great. Where is it? Yeah, this one I really like. Again, it was one when I first saw the book I loved. And I was too intimidated to start with it just because of the dandelions. I was like, well, how do I tackle that? Do I do a background and then white everything out? I wasn't too sure, but that's one that would be a great spring one. This to me is more summer, but there's no reason why you can do it now, of course. Any of the pages with the flowers would be wonderful. So yeah, there's a lot in here. And it's a shame that I probably won't be able to get around to it, but I love that one. And then the book that has the most priority really over those two is Meine Reise durch Asien, because I do need to get back to this one. There are definitely more pages in here that I feel like are more summer ones, but the spring ones, which is why I would probably leave it until it's properly summer rather than spring, but there are so many that could, that would be perfect for now. I really wanted to get around to this one for sort of January, February time because of the dark background, but fortunately I didn't manage to. But yeah, it's just so pretty. Her work is stunning. I really like this one, and this would be one that I'd be nervous to do just because, again, I wouldn't want to mess it up, so I would have to think of a proper plan and a colour palette for that. So I love that. I love the spherical pages. So yeah, that's everything that I have to share with you. I really hope you've enjoyed. Of course, I'm sorry as always that there aren't more pages to share, but I'm just sort of making do with the time that I do have at the moment and trying to still put content out because I really enjoyed my channel. It's something that is great for me to do aside from work because, I can't work all the time. I don't want to be, and I don't want to be fully busy all the time. I need time to switch off, and sometimes that will be making a video, and sometimes that will be just doing some colouring and having some time to myself. So yeah, it's just that the balance is good for me at the moment. I think I've got the right balance, and I have high aims hopefully for A-levels, and there's things that I'm really excited to do after they're done. So yeah, I meant to ages ago, and I haven't meant to do a colour and chat to do some updates. So yeah, I should be able to get around to that during the Easter holidays. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you've enjoyed. Everything will be down below as usual, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.